Hi, this is Jason from Horrific Nightmares, and it's time for Positive Spin. Now, today we're going to be talking about Sweet 16. I love this slasher movie. I was actually really late to the party with this one for the simple fact that it was just one. I know Joe and I were talking about it. It was just one we just never rented when we were younger. And the cover was kind of and you weren't really sure if it was a TV movie or if it was just one of the covers that presented itself as a slasher movie but ended up being something else. And I'm sure those of you who looked at the covers in the 80s of all the horror films and everything know exactly what I'm talking about. Now, I actually watched this on YouTube probably about 5 years ago. And I was really surprised how much I enjoyed it because I had always heard that it was so boring and so uneventful. And I actually don't feel that way at all about this film. So I ended up buying the DVD, which that is not this. And I was in my friend's flea market store, and I found this 88 Films Blu ray on the shelf. And I grabbed it right away because I really, really like this movie. Now, let's put a positive spin on Sweet 16. I like the quality of the title screen, surprisingly enough. And this is actually the title screen, the title card that comes up. I'll show you the other one in a little while. I'll show you the alternate artwork. I like that we have Chris from Friday the 13th, Part 3, which is Dana Kimmel, and Don Shanks, both in the same film, along with other horror alum like Bo Hopkins and the guy who plays Dana Kimmel's brother. I can't think of his name right at this moment. Um, the beginning nightmare is cool with Dana Kimmel. I'm not sure why they included it in the film, maybe to pad out the runtime, but it feels a little bit like Gothic Hammer to me. And I always thought that was pretty cool. The main girl who plays Melissa is absolutely gorgeous. I mean, she's just stunning. I love her theme song. It reminds me of the cheesy slasher movies of the 80s. I mean, this is like a definite timestamp, the whole Sweet Melissa theme song. I love it. I think it's so cheesy and so much fun. Bo Hopkins is really good in this. I always like him in pretty much everything I've seen him in, especially the horror movies. I've always liked him in the horror movies. Rest in peace. The setting is cool in this one, along with the Indian burial ground. This movie has a lot of heart. That's one thing I noticed about this one. It takes its time to kind of, I don't know how to put it. It takes its time with the characters. You get to know the characters a little bit, and it's characters you can actually feel for the most part, except for, of course, the bad characters, which you have them in pretty much every 80s slasher movie that are pretty much cannon fodder. They do a fantastic job with the red herrings. This I was talking to Joe about. I can't say too much about this because I don't want to give away the ending, but I noticed certain things in it with each watch. Because, of course, at this point with my, I don't know, 10th watch or 11th watch or however many times I've watched this movie, of course, you know what the ending is. But they do a really good job with the red herrings and to try to throw you off, which I think is cool. And the last thing I wanted to say about this, because I am going to get into a little bit more about it, but the end is both shocking and extremely well done. And that kind of lends itself to what I was saying before about the twist being so different for its time for me because they do such a good job at hiding what's going on. The first time I watched it, I couldn't tell you who the killer was. It absolutely surprised me at the end because it kind of comes out of left field in a way. But the more you watch the film, when you with every watch, the more it kind of makes sense. Yeah. This is the 88 Films Blu-ray, and I wanted to show you. This is the Blu-ray, and this is the alternate artwork that most people stick with the red border. And this was the actual original font and cover art in the video stores. I like that they did a little something different with this, with the alternate artwork, and put something different on there. Especially the title card, which I think is really cool. I don't know. Like I said, for years I had heard how boring this movie was and how it was one of the worst slasher movies from the 80s. Not for me. I think this movie is great. As a matter of fact, it flies by. Every time I watch it, I always want more. Because I know that the end is coming. And you know what the end is. It's such a freaking cool twist that you just don't want it to end. It's just a really cool movie. And yeah, it should have made my top two for 1983. It really should have. Although I do have some strong ones in there, but I think this might have beat out Psycho 2 if I'm really thinking about it. If not, it probably should have made my top two redo. So, yeah. Maybe if we get a chance to do over, because I know Joe was kind of thinking about that someday, maybe doing a top two do over. Maybe this will make the cut. I'm probably 100% sure it would. But yeah, check out Sweet 16 or don't. I love it. I am so glad that I finally watched this film and was able to really enjoy what it has to offer. Don't forget to check out Joe's Positive Spin for Sweet 16. Physical media matters. And until next time, peace.